and new undisputed champion of the world, Dmitry Bivol.
My life, it's just boxing.
My goal was always to fight for the belts, to have belts, more belts.
Because since my childhood, since my 5.5 years, I was in the gym.
Imagine stepping into the ring, facing a fighter who doesn't just want to beat you, he wants to outthink you. He's not rushing in with wild punches or brute strength. Instead, he's moving like a chess grandmaster, reading your every move, setting traps you don't even see until it's too late. That's Dmitry Bivol. But here's the twist. This isn't just about one man. It's about the revival of a forgotten art, the Soviet boxing school, a style built on precision, discipline, and pure efficiency, a style that's not supposed to work in today's professional rule. Yet somehow, Bivol has not only made it work, he's turned it into his secret weapon. So how did a quiet kid from a small town in Kyrgyzstan rise to become one of the most feared and respected champions in the world? And what makes his fights feel more like a masterclass in strategy than a brawl? Today, we're diving into the story of Dmitry Bivol, the man who isn't just winning fights. He's proving that the genius of Soviet boxing is far from dead. Dmitry Bivol's journey into the world of boxing didn't start with bright lights and roaring crowds. It began in the quiet, unassuming town of Tokmak, Kyrgyzstan, a place where opportunities were few and dreams had to fight their way into existence. Born in 1990 to a multicultural family, Dmitry's life was shaped by diversity. His father, from Moldova, and his mother, of Korean descent, brought together a mix of cultures, values, and traditions that would later mold Dmitry's unique perspective. But in Tokmak, life was simple, and boxing wasn't just a sport. It was a way out, a path to something greater. At just 6 years old, Dmitry stepped into his first boxing gym. Picture a young boy, barely tall enough to see over the ring ropes, throwing his first awkward punches under the watchful eye of his coach. The gym wasn't state-of-the-art. It was basic, rough around the edges. But it didn't matter. What Dmitry lacked in resources, he made up for with relentless determination. Those early years weren't easy. The town's limited facilities and resources meant training was often more about grit than glamour. Yet even then, something about Dmitry stood out. His coach noticed it. A natural balance, a sharpness in his movements, a quiet intensity that seemed rare for a child his age. But Tokmak wasn't the place for a budding champion. At the age of 11, Dmitry's family made a life-changing decision. They packed their bags and moved to St. Petersburg, Russia, a city with better opportunities and the promise of world-class coaching. It was a leap of faith, a sacrifice made in the hope that their son's talent could blossom into something extraordinary. And in St. Petersburg, Dmitry did blossom. Under the guidance of a new coach, Nikolai Isayev, he began refining his skills and laying the foundation of what would become his signature style. His footwork became sharper, his punches more precise, turned unshakable. But it wasn't just about learning how to box. It was about learning how to think like a boxer, how to outsmart opponents, how to stay calm under pressure, and how to win, not just with his fists, but with his mind. Dmitry Bivol's transition from the amateur circuit to the professional ring wasn't just a career move, it was a gamble. Imagine being at the top of your game, with countless amateur titles under your belt, and stepping into a world where the stakes are higher, the lights are brighter, and every mistake could cost you everything. By the time he was 23, Dmitry had already achieved what most fighters only dream of: 5 Russian championships, 3 European titles, and 2 world championships. His amateur record was a staggering 268 wins with just 15 losses. In 2014, he made his professional debut. But here's the twist. Instead of signing with a big-name promoter in the US or UK, the typical path for rising stars, Dmitry took a different route, signing with World of Boxing, a Russian company. To many, this was a career risk. In the world of professional boxing, staying local often means fading into obscurity. Dmitry wasn't here to play by anyone else's rules. He wasn't the flashy, knockout-hunting brawler that some fans craved. He was something different, something rare, a fighter who valued precision over chaos and strategy over brute force. What makes Dmitry Bivol so different? In a sport dominated by raw power and aggressive knockouts, Bivol brings something rare, a calculated artistry that feels more like a masterclass than a fight. From the moment the first bell rings, Bivol takes control of the ring like a seasoned general commanding the battlefield. His movements are deliberate, his punches precise, and his strategy almost surgical. But the real magic lies in how he combines it all, a style that's as efficient as it is mesmerizing. At the heart of his approach is a principle that's been handed down through generations origins of Soviet boxing. This isn't about throwing as many punches as possible or chasing flashy knockouts. It's about making every movement count, using timing, distance, and precision to systematically dismantle opponents. His secret weapon? The jab. Simple, right? But in Bivol's hands, it's far more than a basic punch. It's a tool of control, a way to dictate the pace of the fight and frustrate anyone who dares step into his range. His jab doesn't just keep opponents at bay, it sets up his entire game plan, breaking their rhythm and forcing them to fight on his terms. And then there's his footwork. Most fighters either plant their feet to generate power or stay light to maintain agility. Bivol does both, seamlessly transitioning between offense and defense. He uses subtle angles, pendulum steps, and precise positioning to outmaneuver his opponents, making it nearly impossible for them to land clean shots. But what really sets him apart is his ability to think several moves ahead. Watching Bivol fight is like watching a chess player in action, always planning, always calculating. He doesn't just react, he predicts. Opponents who rush in often find themselves caught in a perfectly timed counter, while those who hang back are forced to endure a relentless onslaught of jabs and combinations. And here's the kicker. Bivol does all of this without taking unnecessary risks. While many fighters rely on sheer aggression to overwhelm their opponents, Dmitry's calm, methodical style ensures he stays in control from start to finish. It's not about chasing the knockout, it's about mastering the art of winning. But for those who truly understand the sport, Bivol's approach is nothing short of genius. It's a testament to the beauty of boxing as a science. May 7th, 2022. The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas was buzzing with energy. Fans filled the seats, eager to witness what many believed would be another chapter in the story of Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed king of pound-for-pound boxing. He hadn't lost in nearly a decade. He was the face of the sport, a global superstar, and on this night he was moving up in weight, looking to conquer the light heavyweight division once again. And across from him stood Dmitry Bivol, a quiet, unassuming champion who wasn't supposed to win. Analysts doubted him, fans dismissed him. After all, Canelo was unstoppable. But here's the thing about underdogs. They don't always follow the script. From the opening bell, it was clear that Dmitry Bivol wasn't there to play the role of the stepping stone. He was there to rewrite the narrative. While Canelo came forward with his usual confidence, looking to impose his power, Bivol met him with precision and poise. Round after round, the pattern became clear. Every time Canelo tried to close the distance, Bivol would greet him with sharp jabs and well-timed counters. Every time Canelo pressed forward, Dmitry's footwork would shift him out of danger, leaving the Mexican star swinging at air. The crowd, overwhelmingly in support of Canelo, began to sense the shift. The seemingly invincible champion was being outclassed, not by brute force, but by intelligence and discipline. And then came the frustration. Canelo, known for his composure, started to show cracks. He threw heavier punches, hoping to break through Bivol's defense, but nothing landed clean. Dmitry didn't just absorb the pressure. He turned it into opportunities, firing back with combinations that landed with stunning accuracy. By the later rounds, the unthinkable was happening. Canelo Alvarez, the man who had dismantled every opponent for 9 years, was being systematically taken apart. The final bell rang, and as the judges tallied their scores, the arena held its breath. When the decision was announced, the shock was palpable. Dmitry Bivol had done it. He didn't just beat Canelo, he dominated him. And in doing so, he didn't just defend his WBA light heavyweight title. He cemented his place in boxing history. Dmitry Bivol had proven that strategy, discipline, and technical mastery could triumph over raw power and reputation. In one night, he transformed from an underdog to a giant slayer, showing the world that the legacy of the Soviet boxing school was alive and thriving. In October 2024, the world witnessed a showdown of epic proportions. Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, two undefeated champions, stepped into the ring to unify the light heavyweight division. It was a battle of contrasting styles, Beterbiev's relentless power against Bivol's technical precision. For 12 electrifying rounds, they pushed each other to the limit. When the dust settled, Beterbiev emerged victorious by majority decision. But the result didn't sit well with everyone. Fans, analysts, and even some ringside observers questioned the verdict, sparking debates that lingered long after the final bell. For Bivol, the loss was devastating, not just a blemish on his once perfect record, but a deeply personal challenge to his legacy. Yet true champions don't dwell on defeat, they turn it into fuel, and Dmitry Bivol is no exception. Now, with the rematch set for February 22nd, 2025, in Riyadh's Kingdom Arena, Bivol has one mission: redemption. This time, the stakes are even higher. The fight is part of a massive event billed as the greatest boxing card ever, featuring multiple world title bouts. But all eyes are on the main event. Can Bivol adapt his strategy, outthink Beterbiev, and reclaim his position at the top of the division? Or will Beterbiev's raw power and aggression once again prove too much to handle? In the lead-up, the tension has been palpable. Beterbiev, exuding confidence, has taunted Bivol with remarks about revenge. Meanwhile, Bivol has stayed composed, his focus sharpened by the lessons of their first fight. Their press conferences have been a mix of mind games and subtle barbs, with Bivol even jokingly calling himself the postman who delivers results. But make no mistake, behind the humor is a fighter ready to leave it all in the ring. This rematch isn't just about titles, it's about pride, legacy, and the hunger to prove who truly reigns supreme in the light heavyweight division. On February 22nd, two warriors will enter the ring, but only one will emerge victorious. For Bivol, it's a chance to rewrite the narrative. For Beterbiev, it's an opportunity to cement his dominance. And for fans, it's a night that promises to define an era. As he prepares for the most critical fight of his career, a rematch against Artur Beterbiev, Bivol carries more than the weight of redemption. He carries the legacy of a boxing tradition that refuses to fade. Whether he reclaims his throne or not, one thing is undeniable. Dmitry Bivol has already carved his name into the sport's history. If you've been inspired by his journey and the lessons it holds, now is the time to join the conversation. Hit that like button, subscribe for more stories of boxing legends, and share your favorite Bivol moments in the comments. The legacy of champions lives on through those who celebrate it.